People don't care about what you do. They care about how you make them feel. This is a quote from the True Geordie that always resonated with me, and it perfectly represents what he has become in a way. Because when I go online, I look at TikTok clips, I look at True Geordie's comments, this man gets so much hate. He gets an unbelievable amount of hate. And in this video, I just want to explore why. Because at one point, this guy was the most appreciated and loved guy on YouTube, especially in the UK. So let's dive into this. Before I start criticizing him, I do want to praise him. I think some of his podcasts were influential on me as a person, which is crazy to say because it's YouTube. And a lot of the videos on this website aren't meant to connect with you in an emotional way. They're just there to stimulate you like a dog. And True Geordie pushed the genre of podcast so far that it's almost become a detriment, to be honest, because the amount of shit podcasts we have now. Christ. But yeah, some of the episodes I want to shout out: A Father's Legacy. Laurence McKenna talks about his relationship with his newborn son, his relationship with his father. True Geordie talks about bipolar his father struggles from. I've listened to that podcast so many times, it's incredible. The Rebuild 1 and 2. Now I guess these are more documentaries than podcasts, but especially The Rebuild 2 I want to shout out. In this podcast, he talks about his mum. He opens up about her death, how it made him feel. He's crying in a boxing ring. This is one of my favourite YouTube moments ever. Just in terms, again, of you see his emotional intelligence, you see the way he connects with his audience, and there will be people who watch this documentary who relate to him, who have had their own dead mothers, and this will help them grieve in a way. It's just something that's really amazing to see, I think. And one thing I'd like to mention about this video as well is they're the Rory Jennings comments. All the comments from the Kickoff lads that left him said it was a great video. They later tell him that they didn't know his mum died. So did they not watch the whole video? Just saying, you bit of a prick for commenting on the video like that. The downfall of True Geordie is another one I want to mention. This podcast was a brilliant response to the year he had, which was full of ups and downs, and it's one I go back and listen to quite often. And he details his own journey. I think back then he was a bit more retrospective than he is now. He wouldn't make a video like this now, though I wish he would, because I think the way he talks about his cancellations in that year is incredible. He deserves praise for all of that, because these are his videos. These are things that weren't done before he started doing them. And he's an innovator. That's what I think he is, at his best. The reality of it now is he's effectively a slop content creator. And I don't think this is his fault. You see a lot of big YouTubers go down this route now because it's just easier to do. You get more views for it, you get more money, and it takes less effort. And why would you put all your effort and resource into making a high quality production like you had on the Kickoff for no return, when you could make a video about Trump winning the election and get more views and more money? He's not made a podcast in 6 months, and I can't say whether this is a passion thing or a financial thing, but what I will say is in the last 6 months, the content has changed a lot. I don't want to say it's fallen off. If you look through his videos, there are actually still a lot of good videos throughout the last 6 months, and yeah. However, we're not having those heavy-hitting videos anymore. I think the Kickoff fell off a long time ago when his crew stabbed him in the back, in my opinion. But you still had that production quality. Now, it's what I'm doing now. He's talking to a camera. And look, that's good. I'm doing it. But I'm doing it because it's cheap. Okay. And again, I don't know if the reason is because he just doesn't have the same passion for the Kickoff anymore, or if it's a budgeting reason. You have to assume it's a budgeting reason because the views have fallen off quite a lot, and that's not me insulting him. The views have just fallen off, that's a fact. But why would people tune in to what is essentially a Zoom business meeting with him and his friends? Of which I do want to say, I do like some of the new Kickoff guests. I'm a United fan. I like KG. I just don't think he represents United very well. Again, I do like KG. I just wish True Geordie would have other United guests on, because sometimes it does feel like they're talking shit about my club. And I didn't have an issue with that. But when they had McKenna on, it used to be a bit more educated in debate. Now, I'm not saying KG doesn't know anything, but some of his opinions around United, they're not great. He doesn't defend the club very well, in my opinion. So if you had Mark Goldbridge on, for example, it'd be a completely different show. And you can't have one of his videos without talking about Laurence McKenna. Now, I think I'm one of the only people in the world who liked Laurence McKenna on the kickoff, and I'm a United fan. Now, maybe it's my loyalty to him because I loved him so much on the podcast. I thought he made such a good duo with True Geordie. And personally, I think a lot of True Geordie's opinions, I think his, again, emotional connection with his audience, these things have all suffered because of the loss of Laurence McKenna. Again, I had a really deep connection with both these guys from listening to the podcast. I spent hours, probably months listening. If you put all their videos together, it would take me maybe years to get through what I watched. I spent so much time listening to these guys, so I really just appreciate the content they made together. He had that issue with Jackmate where he trolled their charity event a little bit. It's not really been spoken about since, but the guy on that podcast, he's been done for taking money out of a charity event. I don't know if that's the first or the second year. So you have these guys criticising Laurence McKenna on a podcast, which is still up, and it must nearly have 1 million views. It was a massive thing at the time, in which he got a lot of grief for. And one of the guys on this podcast, he was in the wrong. He was taking money out of a charity pot. Jackmate's never apologised, to my knowledge. I used to really like Jackmate. This kind of soured my opinion of him. I think as I've grown older a little bit, I've sort of noticed that a lot of Jackmate's old content was a bit sad. Right, so while editing this, I realised that a lot of people are going to watch and say, why should Jack apologise? And that Loz is in the wrong. And that's fair enough if you believe that. But from my perspective, Jack is someone who makes videos criticising people, and he has criticised charity events before. Look at the Logan Paul charity event they did ages ago. I think he deleted a video he made criticising that, but for Jackmate to call him out on that, for me, it seemed a little crazy, and I don't know, I think especially in retrospective, it just wasn't a cool thing to do to your friend, and I don't know, maybe you disagree, but that's just my perspective on the whole matter. Whoa, it's Max from the future. I'm here to tell you to subscribe and to like the video. I'd really appreciate if you can do that. Again, a bit of a different video than I usually make, but if it does well, I'll try and make more. Back to the video. I think Laurence as well has said publicly he doesn't get on with some of the kickoff members, or some of the old kickoff members. I think it's pretty easy to deduce that he means Adam McCullough here. You know, we've seen he made a video with Chelsea Rory Jennings, whatever you want to call him. He's also been cited with Boovie a few times, so they're friends. And I mean, we knew he was friends with True Geordie, so he can only be talking about Adam McCullough. And I like Adam McCullough. I think he's the only one of the kickoff lads that made a statement after what happened to the True Geordie with his cancellation. And I respect him for that, because Rory didn't, and to my knowledge, Boovie didn't, apart from calling him out for a boxing match.
I've got a name.
Who?
I've got a big.
So would you actually
name.
do it?
I would.
Say the name.
Say it.
If you actually want to fight them, you have to go to start calling people out. With your chest, look down that camera, call someone out.
I'd fight True Geordie on Misfits.
Would you?
Yeah, I would.
This is a call out.
And this is not a call out because I don't respect. I respect him. I respect him. But I would have a fight for charity with True Geordie. I would.
Which, I mean, come on, lad. It's like me calling out Tyson Fury. What's the point? You're not going to win. But I think it's pretty clear he had a problem with Adam McCullough. There are a few videos where you could sense quite a lot of tension. I don't know if this was just because he was a Liverpool fan. I don't know if Adam was even in the wrong for this. It's just worth pointing out, I think, that this was said. I mean, the kickoff was a source of a lot of issues, though. I think they were coming up against the mainstream with this show, and it was massive. People forget they used to get 50 to 100,000 people a stream when they were on YouTube. At the end of the podcast, which I was still sitting in, by the way, it was 2,000 concurrent at most, which is crazy to think about, and no wonder he stopped it, because the money just couldn't be coming in. But I think the kickoff first sort of had issues when it went over to Twitch. Again, I was loyal to the podcast. I think a lot of men are quite loyal. You know, I wouldn't even cheat on my barber. But a lot of the issues came over when they went to Twitch. A lot of people didn't even know it was on Twitch somehow. A lot of people didn't want to pay the subscription, even though you could watch it for free. I paid the subscription. I don't even remember how much it was. I think it was £3 a month. Hey, if I get my watch hours up, soon you'll be able to do that for me, in which I will be dancing in the money. I'm just kidding. I'm sure no one would pay that unless. But the issues came when they went over to Twitch. I think this is when they started having issues with Hugh Wizzy. Hugh Wizzy was like the first guest that they stopped having on that people were really upset about. Now, I know people say they were upset about this, but I look at Hugh Wizzy's streams. I mean, he's streaming literally right now, and Arsenal are losing, and he's only got 700 concurrent viewers. So while they were upset, they can't be that upset because they're not watching him. I know this is years later, but they never really kicked off in the same way. He never really gained that same popularity he had on the kickoff. And I think he was great on the show, right? I wish he stayed on. I'll just get that out of the way. So then we had a new crew garnered in. It was mainly Rory and Adam McCullough. I think these were both great on the kickoff. I really liked Rory. I kind of have my issues with him now because he's getting a bit EastEnders. He's very dramatic. I think, was it Coronation Street or EastEnders? It was EastEnders he was on, which is class. Right, so I was looking at clips of Rory to use in EastEnders, and turns out he has this one storyline where, well, let's say it rhymes with Bevo. This girl is apparently 13, and I guess he gets beaten up by Ian Beale or whoever this is. So, yeah, that's a fun little storyline. And again, I really liked Rory. He's the only one that left the kickoff that on his own channel really gets a lot of views. Fair play to him, because he kind of does what I do, but a lot better. He's the most charismatic man possibly ever, and I do respect him for that. I don't like the way he stabbed True Geordie in the back, personally. But I think Rory leaving was probably what gave Adam and Boovie the confidence to go with him, because if Adam and Boovie started their own thing, it wouldn't have been anywhere near as big. That's just undeniable in my opinion. And I think their channel's been somewhat successful. I'll be honest, I don't keep up with it, but I think it's just sort of lost in the flood of football content now. The club is another thing I need to talk about. Obviously this happened after True Geordie's Islamic comment, which I think was stupid.
Are you fighting Andrew Tate? Mate, come on.
Andrew Tate's got God on his side now. There's no way Brian would win that.
Although I would gladly blow myself up if I could take that fucking shitbag with us.
That's the use of a stereotype there, which is obviously not what he...
I'm just saying, if he really wants to prove it, do the right thing.
Obviously, I don't agree with it. It was a pricky thing to say. I believe I was watching the podcast at the time, and if I remember, it was sort of brushed off. It was casual racism. That's just the only way you can put it. And he lost a lot of sponsors. I think, did he deserve that sort of punishment? I'm not going to debate that. That's not for me to decide. But he got that. And that's just something he has to deal with, doesn't he? The losing of sponsors, the losing of his friends. You know, it's a humbling, but it's a hard humbling. Did he take it well? That's kind of the point of this video. He didn't take it very well, let's be honest. He didn't let it humble him. His videos just got worse. But I can kind of get that, because I would be bitter too if all this happened to me after a stupid comment. You know, everything you've worked hard for is ruined in 10 seconds. And I can understand also why people left him, because this is the second time it happened after the DMs, which again was another stupid thing, but another thing you can understand that sponsors might not like, and his friends did support him through that as well. So it's one of those things which you can understand from both angles. I can understand why True Geordie would be frustrated and upset and feel betrayed, but I can understand why the people around him wouldn't trust him, because they're trusting their livelihoods in him. And let's be honest, he was the golden goose for a lot of these people. Even Rory, who's massive now, he got his come up off of True Geordie. Blue Van Man got his come up off of True Geordie. Lawrence got his come up from the True Geordie. All these people, they all got it from him. If anything, someone like Adam, you could say he got it from Stretford Paddock. That's fair enough. But I have a conspiracy theory about the club. I do. Because it started so quickly, and it would have gotten a lot of the kickoff fans before True Geordie had a chance to start the kickoff again. Cal Freezy was behind this. I can't believe I'm saying this. This is ridiculous, isn't it? But in my opinion, Cal Freezy was 100% behind this. Him and Burnt Chip. And the reason I bring this up is because Cal Freezy was friends with the True Geordie. He was in a lot of the early podcasts. They clearly got on very well. And if you don't know, the club is produced by the Fellas Studios. I mean, hence it's plastered everywhere. So it's pretty clear that Cal Freezy and Burnt Chip wanted to own that sort of domain. They wanted to run football YouTube. And you know what? Apart from Mark Goldbridge, they do. And this isn't much of a conspiracy, I guess, but it's just something about Cal Freezy that sort of made me, it soured my feelings towards him, because I look at Cal Freezy now, and to do that to a friend, to, you know, essentially take partly what is their livelihood away from them, I don't think that's a cool move. And, you know, maybe it's not just Cal Freezy, maybe he's a face for the company. Maybe he is, but you are the face of the company and you have to take responsibility. And I've never heard him address this. I've never heard him even mention the True Geordie since. And fair play to the True Geordie, I've not heard him mention this because this must be going through his mind. But there's no way you can't tell me Cal Freezy is somewhat behind this. So yeah, let's have a look at some of True Geordie's content now. So if you look at True Geordie's content, he seems to be more of a news channel. Again, I called it slop. I don't think this is anywhere near as bad as some of the slop we get on YouTube. Obviously, there is some YouTube drama, I guess, if you can call it, which I guess almost this video is. I make slop videos, but I'm allowed. I'm not a big channel. I don't have a massive budget. I'm just trying to grow my audience, right? I'm allowed to make somewhat lazy videos. I've got other stuff going on in my life. This is True Geordie's job. And to be honest, as I just said, I don't think this is as bad as a lot of other slop channels. I think a lot of effort does go into these videos, and the commentary he has, it's contrary to a lot of other commentary you get, and it's interesting. I'm trying to find videos I particularly liked. The only videos I really have issues with are the Donald Trump ones, and look, these are actually the ones that seem to get quite a few views, so fair enough. And I don't have an issue with it because I don't support Donald Trump, which I don't. But it's just, I don't think going down such a political, especially an alt-right angle, is the best idea for True Geordie. I know in the short term you get a lot of Americans that are watching, but your fan base is primarily British men. Probably some men my age, probably a lot of men older as well. To go down this route, I don't know. I think it's going to get him in trouble again. That's all I can say. I mean, I was watching one of the videos trying to give it a go, and halfway through the video he talks about one of Kamala Harris's old relationship and basically accuses her of shagging her way to the top, which I just think is plain sexist. And as much as I appreciate the True Geordie's content, I can't really agree with that. I think it's a bit disgusting that he'd say something like that in a video, especially when you're comparing her to Donald Trump and the relationships he's had in his life. I just think that's mental. And I'm the first to criticise Kamala Harris. I think she was an awful candidate. But to criticise her on something like that, I really disagreed with. I thought it was disgusting, personally. So yeah, that is the True Geordie. I've been recording for 20 minutes now. I don't know how much of this will actually make it into the video because I do waffle quite a lot. But it's just something a bit more personal. Again, I loved this man's content. For me, it was part of what I watched growing up. It sounds a bit embarrassing, right? But I actually had a picture of him on my wall. I appreciated his content that much. His podcast meant that much to me. So this guy is important to me. And to see what's happened to him now, to see the videos he's making now, it's disappointing as a fan, I guess. And if he were to see this video, I don't know what I'd say to him, to be honest. I feel sorry for him because I understand why he's gone the way why he's gone down the route he has gone. It just feels like a case of what could have been. And what he could have been something that would have changed all the media we have today. But it's a fight that's been lost, I think, already. And now, slop content rules YouTube. It does. And it rules the media. So, it's just something a bit sad. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please like and leave a comment. Remember to subscribe as well. This is a bit of a different video for what I usually make. I did and ah about making it, but you know, I'm happy I've managed to get this off my chest. So again, if you want more content like this, let me know. I'd really appreciate it. But otherwise, just smash the like and the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that. 300 subscribers before the end of the year? Let's go. Come on.